Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of a Master Instructor Roundtable. This is Regional Master Instructor Marty Miller, and I'm here with my fellow Regional Master Instructor, Wendy Batts. Wendy, how are you today?
Excellent. How are you guys?
Excellent. Well, we have two very special guests with us today. So today's topic is going to be an educational partnership spotlight on our great partner and friends at California University, Pennsylvania. And today with us, we have Professor from California University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Barry McGlumphy. He is the professor and program coordinator of the Exercise Science and Health Promotion Department. Barry, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Excellent. And then another good friend of ours is Dr. Jeff Hatton. He's a professor and program coordinator in the undergraduate degree program. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks for having us.
Excellent. So when we talked about this, myself and Wendy, we were like, you know what, we continue to talk about NASM and how it's cutting edge content, evidence-based, but I wanted to go back, and Wendy agreed that, let's take a step back and look at some of the amazing partnerships that NASM has created. And this goes back now over 15 years. And both Wendy and I are proud alumni and both have the opportunity in different faculties to be working with California University of Pennsylvania. So what we want to do for our entire NASM family and friends is bring the two architects of this amazing partnership with us here, Barry and Jeff, and talk about where this started, what the vision was, and really now over the last years of this partnership, where it's gone and where it continues to go. So Barry, I'm going to kind of throw it over to you at first and just talk about the early days where you thought about this amazing online master's program, how it's kind of developed from there.
Yeah, sure. It really started back in the mid to late 90s. I was a professor at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh. And I was looking to do some online programs at that time, but it was so early in the process that many universities were not interested in going the online route. And then I had the great fortune to meet a couple individuals who were key players in the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And they were really in their infancy stage as well. So we collaborated a little bit and discussed things. And in 2002, we decided to put together an academic program that was fully online. And fortunately at the time, CALEU was ready to do online programming as well. So we identified NASM as our key partner at that time. We looked at the curriculum, how could they help us out, and how could we build not only a quality online program, but we wanted it to be challenging, but also flexible for our students. So that was back in 2002.
Awesome. So way back in 2002, even before Wendy and I were involved with NASM. So we're going to go to the next slide here, but I know that you and Jeff are going to kind of talk a little bit about, as you said, the program, but also a little bit even more about CALEU.
Okay, I'll jump in there. So, California, Pennsylvania, for a lot of people is an odd moniker. I'm often asked, well, where are you? Are you in California or are you in Pennsylvania? And, I sarcastically answer yes to both of those questions because California is actually a small town in Pennsylvania. And there is an interesting history behind the name. And if you'll indulge me for a moment, I'll share that with you. So around the same time that gold was being discovered in the state of California, there was something important being discovered in and around the hills in southwestern Pennsylvania, and it was coal. And the coal that was in that region was used to make a product called coke that was used to fire steel mills in Pittsburgh, which is only about 35 miles or so from our campus. And by river, it's even shorter, which is how they got the coke to the steel mills. They didn't carry it by mule. We're a little further progressed than that. So they were again finding gold, Eureka in California, and we were finding black gold in southwestern Pennsylvania, and that was coal. But a little bit about the university. The university was founded in 1852, and it was actually what was referred to at that time as a normal school, and it was brought about to educate teachers for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And the university has gone through a couple of name changes. It became a college, then a state teachers college, and in 1984, it became a university when it added a second college and a graduate school. And so that's a little bit about the history of the town, the history of the university. We do have dozens of programs that are 100% online. And those programs come from obviously a wide variety of disciplines. We of course are from the Department of Exercise Science and Sports Studies, where our programs are housed.
Awesome. Excellent. Now we will get into some of the alumni success, and Wendy and I are very proud alumni, but Wendy, if you want to talk a little bit about, your role and how you've, become a full-time faculty member at CALEU, maybe a little bit about what the courses you teach and how that really, has been able to magnify what you first learned with NASM.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I did my 4-year undergrad at Arizona State University. And so, I felt like I knew a lot of things that were going to make or help me be successful in my career. However, I found out there was a lot that I didn't know. And so I had heard about CALEU. I researched the program. I actually didn't know Barry or Jeff Hatton at the time. I actually spoke to you about it because I knew that you had gone through the program. And one of the things that I loved about it was that I was working full time. I was traveling a lot. And the program for the master's was 100% online. And it allowed me to travel, allowed me to work, and it allowed me to actually go back to school to earn my master's in 1 year. And that 1 year it was very impactful for me because you can do anything for a year. And so, it was very challenging. The professors that I had were unbelievable. The information that I learned, not only from my professors, but also with my cohorts that I had, I thought was something that was way more than I had ever expected. And so once I did earn my degree, and with the partnership with NASM, I was offered a teaching position to actually become a professor going through, and I was an adjunct professor, so I was working part-time, but I got to actually start to teach the NASM courses that were embedded into the CALEU curriculum. And so I love it. I never, ever in a million years would have thought I would be any kind of teacher. And the fact that now I get to step in the roles that my professors had when I went through as a student, to be able to expand their knowledge and kind of, connect the pieces, I think is something that one of the reasons why I put CALEU ahead of so many other universities out there, and why I speak so highly of it. And I just honestly love the program.
That's awesome. And, Wendy, it's interesting. You and I kind of came at it from different directions. We're both passionate about NASM and helping fitness professionals take their career to another level. I was kind of given the guidance from some people at NASM to say, if you ever want to come on board with us, go get your master's degree at CALEU, because we really need to make sure that our content to that level. So I went through I was in that first graduating class. And that now has opened up the tremendous amount of doors for me with being a regional instructor for NASM. And, we'll talk about other alumni success, but, have the opportunity to work for the New York Yankees. And then you being so embedded with NASM now has given you the opportunity to work for CALEU. So it's amazing how, you continue to push the envelope of education, as we always tell all of our, students, that whether they're coming from CALEU or NASM, that, hey, what do I do next? Well, the best thing you can do is go out and learn more. And look, how lucky we are to have been with such amazing companies now too, to that, as you said, figure it out for a year, anything can get done.
Absolutely.
So Barry, we're going to go to the next slide, but if you want to talk a little bit about, you and a couple other people came up with this idea of let's go all online, which had to be at the time, game changing for you to walk into somebody's office and say, hey, I got this idea.
Yeah, it certainly was game changing. Fortunately, we had administrative support. So the president of the university was really looking for a very innovative, creative online program. So when we introduced the proposal to him, he loved the idea. Now, having said that, we had a lot of pushback as well, because a lot of individuals said, how can you take a hands-on profession, the fitness discipline, exercise, science, how do you put that in an online format? Well, at the time, I thought I could do it, but I'll be honest with you. I wasn't sure that it was going to work, but I did a great job of selling it to all the right people. And the beauty of it was that we could take this program. There was no on-campus degree program in this area at the time. So we could take it and really create it from scratch. So we tweaked it over time, the proposal. And then even as the program developed, we've tweaked it so many times over the past several years that it's amazing what it's grown into. And a lot of that has been because of input from faculty and students, administrators, et cetera. So it really gave us a chance to be creative. And, you know, when you hear the term "think outside the box," we were able to do that from day one, and we continue to do it today.
Yeah. And now from there, and we're going to go through some of the different programs, but it went from basically one program, as you can see here. Now we talk about, you know, professional golf management. There's other opportunities now. It's not just the original that, you know, that I went through.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you see on the screen right now, we not only have our exercise science programs that we're going to focus on today, but we've added long ago, we added a sport management program that was fully online, a master's degree. And then we also have a on-campus sport management undergraduate degree. So we're all housed in the same department, which really gives us flexibility to, you know, use the creativity from different faculty from different programs to add to the program. One example, and I won't get into this too much right now, but with the professional golf management program, we now have a concentration in our online master's degree in exercise science that is advanced golf performance training. So we worked with those faculty in that area to really create what we feel is a one-of-a-kind master's degree concentration in the country.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, as we move forward to the next slide, we're going to dig a little deeper into the NASM partnership. And like you said, it's been long-standing. And there was a reason that you decided to go out and partner with NASM. So if you want to cover a couple key points here, and then we'll move towards into, you know, some of the successes that the program has had for individuals, and then we'll get into some of the content in the programs itself.
Yeah, sure. You know, at the time I mentioned this was years ago, but NASM, even though they were in their infancy stage, everybody was talking about NASM. So in the fitness area, the sports medicine area, you heard this new organization, NASM. And so that got me excited. And so when we started to develop the partnership and truly saw it coming to fruition, I knew that our program would be successful. And so we were able to, we were their first academic partner, and we remain today their largest academic partner. So here we are, 2020, 17 plus years later, and we're still going strong. We do embed NASM content into our courses. So depending on what concentration the student will choose, we're able to provide them with the content and give that value added of a certification when they graduate. And also we give advanced placement. So if a student comes into, for example, our wellness and fitness concentration, and they have the CPT already from NASM, we actually waive a course, and they do not have to take a 3-credit course for that, that concentration. And then lastly, we've built over the years, we've been able to award multiple Pursuit of Excellence awards. And these are awards that are marketed and advertised, I should say, every year on the NASM website in the early fall. A number of individuals apply, and we're able to give the individuals who are chosen a tuition-free master's degree. So, and it's been, you know, you talk about symbiotic relationships. This has truly been one of those. Every couple of years, we kind of find something new that we can do together that works and is truly a win-win for both organizations.
Well, that's excellent. And Wendy, you know, I think this would be a great opportunity, since you teach both for CALEU, but also teach prior to this year in COVID, countless live workshops. Can you kind of give, you know, everyone in attendance today, you know, maybe to the extra depth that we would cover as we would be diving into things at the CALEU program, and, you know, some of the advantages of going to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is there are multiple concentrations. And so depending on, you know, let's say if you did rehabilitative science, and that's one of the concentrations, there's actually 2 courses that focus specifically on the corrective exercise content. And so for the first I'm going to use that as the example, but the first 15 weeks, we literally break down the textbook. And so we are going through a lot of content to make sure people understand human movement science, assessment processes, anatomy, how things work together, why the kinetic chain is, why it literally is all connected. And so it really kind of goes into a lot of depth over 15 weeks. And then not only when you're done with that course, then you continue on the next 15 weeks in a program design course. So you have all this content, and then all of a sudden people don't know what to do with it. And so we spent another 15 weeks really giving different types of scenarios and personas, and we design programs together as a class. And you take yourself and really kind of break yourself down as to, maybe movement compensations and what you could do to really hone in on fixing those compensations for, injury prevention and looking at it in a very microscopic way. And at the end of that 15 weeks, so again, you've spent 30 weeks on the content, really getting a true understanding of just CES, along with your other courses. There are a lot of, things that are obviously related, but then you're going to sit down and you're going to take your CES specialization exam in the middle of your course. So as Barry had mentioned, you're coming out with the CES. And so I think the differences between just taking the CES through NASM and listening to our webinars of trying to help you guys learn the material, I think really getting that true understanding and spending a lot of time on kind of the reasons, the systematic progression, why it's research-based, why there's evidence-based solutions. You learn a lot more in 15 weeks and then 30 weeks than you would if you went to an 8-hour course. And so, and that's just one example. Again, the NASM content is embedded into different, concentrations. So depending on what your area of focus is, will be the area of, that we'll target, with those types of, that type of content. But, teaching it, I think, is amazing because you get to see the aha moment over time, and then working with your cohort, with however many students that's in your class. I think it really does help kind of make students understand and then can really truly apply it so they're more successful in their careers. And I think that's one of the things that's very special to the CALEU NASM relationship.
Awesome. And Jeff, I'm going to throw this to you. You've been around this from the very beginning, and you've seen tremendous success from individuals and alumni, also the programs. But maybe you can highlight a couple of the other things that some of the students take away from, by being in a structured program like this, whether it's their writing skills, learning APA format, some of the other classes, because we're really truly highlighting a lot of the NASM courses. But what about some of those other things that really take people's career to that whole entire level outside of just the advanced knowledge that they learned from the courses that were NASM based?
Absolutely. And full disclosure, I was the second man in. I was brought on after this started, soon after, but I was the second person in. So I mean, our programs both at the undergraduate and the graduate level go beyond, sort of a training methodology standpoint. So we look at, in particular, I'll start at the undergraduate level and then move on. But we have coursework in the undergraduate program that's a little more specialized toward youth fitness, senior fitness, fitness for special populations. But we also delve into research. So students, and with our goal being students to become better consumers of research. But they do learn a writing style, which is important if they plan to move on to advanced education. We have a coursework or a course that's dedicated to the business of fitness. So for students who want to either improve or hone their skills as a personal trainer and how to better develop a clientele, and that goes all the way up to somebody who may want to one day own or open their own facility. So there is it's a significant breadth and depth of content across the curriculum. And then with respect to the graduate program, the same thing holds true. We have coursework that focuses on community wellness. We have coursework that focuses on business and entrepreneurship within the fitness industry, as well as a leadership class, and then, of course, an advanced leadership class, an advanced research class. Students also take graduate level kines class and a graduate level ex-phys class as part of the master's program. And then finally, we haven't touched on it yet, but I'll be happy to. We also have a doctoral program, a doctorate of health science and exercise leadership. And that program is threefold in its makeup, and it's in leadership, in pedagogy, and also in exercise science.
That's awesome. And looking back now as an alumni, but also as an adjunct faculty member, I think the networking and the camaraderie that you get as you go through this for a year plus with some people, because you're following those same 30 some people through, or even more in that cohort. And, I still have friends from when I graduated, and it's really cool. And we're going to slide in here if we go to the next slide about the Alumni Success. But we've really established an amazing network within the industries. And, there's somebody I work with at Technogym, and he was so excited that he was a fellow CALEU alum. And, we're also very proud of that. But it's really all of the things that help develop us to that next level of a professional in all of these courses. And, either Barry or Jeff, if you want to talk about some of the amazing success that we've had as a university with our alumni, I think a lot of people will be really fascinated with some of those stories or the numbers that you're going to share with us.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. It's funny, back in the early 2000s, I used to have to explain who we were. Nobody knew what the brand CALEU was. So I would explain exactly who we were and what we were trying to do in our educational opportunities. Fast forward to today, pretty much everywhere I go, people know who we are. There's a lot of networking at every conference I go to. People come up if we're actually exhibiting. Individuals will come up and say, I graduated in 2010, I'm so-and-so. It's a much different world because of all the individuals and the network that's out there. I'll give a quick example, and I know one of the slides had some different military and some different professional sports and things like that. But we boast quite often that we have the highest number of individuals, professionals working in professional sports of any university in the country. And we say that with a lot of confidence because we know the NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, Major League Soccer, et cetera, NFL, that there are a lot of professionals that are CALEU grads working in those areas. So one example, a couple of years ago, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They had no less than 7 individuals working on between their sports medicine and sport performance staff, working and were part of that team that ended up winning the ultimate championship in football. And so for CALEU, that was a very proud moment. But those stories are replicated over and over again. So that's just one example. And I'll leave it to Jeff to maybe talk about some other types of successes.
Sure. Just sort of dovetailing with what Barry is saying, we've also had students who've had or graduates who've had incredible success, not just working with others, but also sort of expanding upon their own abilities. We've had 2 Olympians in our program. One was a silver medalist in the luge. And we've had former and actually current NFL players in both programs. And we've had NBA players in the program as well. We have worked for about 3 years to try to create a partnership with an organization that helps minor league baseball players who are sort of at the end of their career to go back and finish college or begin college because they never really had that opportunity. So those are some of the other unique avenues that some of our students have taken moving into and out of the program.
And Marty, I would add to that, I don't know if we lost Marty, but I will add to that the military students who've gone through the program, it's been quite amazing when we hear stories of our students who are active duty military that are on deployment in Afghanistan or in Iraq, and they're going full time through our master's degree or even our undergraduate degree program. And so we have been deemed a military friendly institution year after year after year. And we're quite proud of our relationship with military students.
Well, absolutely. I don't know where Marty went, but I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. I mean, and to your guys' point, I mean, when you're talking about just alumni success, even in my career, I still see some clients and I'm working with some professionals, and it's actually amazing to hear how many people actually went to Cal. And, and the fun thing is when you go through the program and you actually get to meet, because again, CALEU is a brick and mortar school. You take your whole year, like in the master's, if you go online for 1 year and then you actually go to graduation and you get to meet everyone truly face to face. I think it's something that, when Marty was saying you're really building these friendships, this is something that's worldwide. And so it's not something that you just in our nation. I got to hang out with people that were in my cohort from China. So it was amazing. And so I can keep saying that it's amazing. It's really, truly because I believe it. But, but I won't keep talking about that. We can actually go on to the next slide. And so, after, we think about the successes, again, I know we can talk, hours on end about that. But why don't we start talking a little bit about the programs themselves? Because again, we can talk about all the success, where it's located and how it's ran. But I think, for people that are listening to really have a good understanding of what CALEU can offer them in our different programming, starting as an undergrad, because I know with NASM students, what we often hear is, well, I'm a business major. I decided that fitness is my passion, and now I want to become a personal trainer. And so I'm going to take my NASM, I'm going to become a trainer, but I don't have in-depth knowledge like some other people that are, that I'm working with, in big box gyms or whatever. So Jeff, I don't know if you want to kind of talk through a little bit more about the online undergraduate program.
Absolutely. So the undergraduate program was actually born out of the graduate program, which is sort of an inverse order to how this would typically happen in the world of academics. But we started the program in 2005. And we actually at the time were referred to as the Sport Management, Wellness, and Fitness concentration. And the reason that happened was because it allowed us to quickly start the program as a concentration versus going through the process of becoming a new degree program in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is can be glacially slow, I guess would be the best way to say it. So from that point, in 2005, we started with 30 undergraduate students. And 5 years later, we were the largest undergraduate program at the university. Our name has since changed to Exercise Science, and we did become a full-blown degree program in 2013. Many of our students, transition and move into the graduate program, and later on, I know Barry's going to talk a little bit about. We do have an accelerated bachelor's to master's program as well. So that's just a little about the undergrad program.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So why don't we transition to the master's program that I think was there at the very beginning. We're going to talk about the master's program here in Exercise Science and Health Promotion. And Barry, maybe we talk about what that first iteration was and now what the options are for the students.
Yeah, so the first iteration was simply one option. So when students would choose a concentration area, it was performance enhancement and injury prevention. So over time, we've added a couple concentrations based on really what the industry demanded and what students were telling us they wanted. So we've really tried to keep pace with current topics and issues. But now we have actually 10 concentrations that we're able to offer. And if you go to the next slide, actually, I will tell you what those are. So the concentrations are very a wide variety and a wide range of different topic areas. So we'll start out with the first one. Advanced golf performance training is our newest concentration. And obviously, it's very innovative, and we feel it's a first of a kind program where we're partnering with techno gym, but also in a way NASM. NASM is very involved in this concentration as well. The applied sports science, there's been a real push towards applied sports science in the past several years. And so we've added that. And I'll move through these quickly, but nutrition obviously speaks for itself, a very important component of what we do. The performance enhancement and injury prevention is still there. That was our first one, still going strong. And as a matter of fact, it's one of our most popular. Rehabilitation science that Wendy had mentioned earlier, more in the corrective exercise area. We tend to find a lot of individuals who are in the rehab areas take this concentration. So athlete trainers, physical therapists, chiropractors, sports psychology, tactical strength and conditioning, which is also a new program that we just started. Again, one of those very hot areas right now. So training individuals to work with first responders and military personnel, we feel is very important. So there's an option for that. And then the last two, wellness and fitness, is more general in scope, but also one of our very first concentrations that we created with NASM. And then our wellness coaching that we started several years ago with Well Coaches. And that's a partnership we've had with them as well.
Awesome. And so if we go to the next slide here, it's going to go over the 12-month option and then the 18th-month option that you guys have decided to give people, depending on their schedule. It sounds like, either full-time or maybe a little bit more of a part-time opportunity. Yeah,
that's exactly right, Marty. So the 12-month program. Now, a lot of people say, how do you fit 36 credits in to 12 months? And both of you know very well that it's not an easy task, but it's definitely doable. So we do offer semesters back to back to back to back, allowing you to finish in exactly 12 months. And that's a full-blown Master of Science. It's not watered down. And it's, again, you finish with 36 credits in 12 months. For those individuals that are looking for a little bit, that's a little bit too much for me, but we can do the 18-month part-time program and spread things out a little bit. And I will, actually say that we've worked with individuals on a case-by-case basis. So if you tell us, I can only do one course at a time, we'll work with you on that. We don't like to steer you in that direction, but we will definitely work with you if that's what your time constraints demand. And then the next point, the single and dual concentrations. So you saw the list. We can actually partner those together or pair those together so that you could take a 48 credit master's degree. So I'll give you an example. If you really want to work with athletes, and you take the sport performance and injury prevention concentration, and you want to have more knowledge in the nutrition area, you partner those together, and you'll graduate with a degree with 2 concentrations. So that we started that a number of years ago. It's become one of our most attractive options for our students. Then I'll keep moving here, Marty. The research project option, we found years ago, students would say to us, am I able to get my master's thesis through this program? Well, we intentionally did not create a master's thesis requirement at the beginning, but we decided to go ahead and offer a research project option so students can take a course and do that research project. The same applies for an internship option. We do not require it, but many of our students want to get out there and apply what they've learned over the year. In interesting settings around. Literally, our students are around the country and around the world. Mm-hmm. We've had students from well over 20 to 25 states. Countries in all 50 states. So those students can find those internship options in their particular geographical area that will best serve them. And then the last one, the accelerated degree option, and Jeff had mentioned this, allows students, while they're in the undergrad program, to take graduate level coursework and apply it to both programs. So it saves money, it saves time, and ultimately there's a lot of continuity for the students moving from undergrad to graduate work.
I'll jump in there real quick, Marty. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
With respect to the accelerated program, students who have junior level standing in the undergraduate program, and they must have a certain GPA in order to qualify, but they can take up to 18 graduate credits while still enrolled as an undergraduate. And it is attractive, and Barry mentioned this for many students, because they're taking graduate credits but paying for those graduate credits at the undergraduate rate, which is, can be very attractive. And many of our students are quite budget conscious. So.
Mm-hmm. And I think this would be a good time for maybe myself and Wendy to jump in, is for anybody that's contemplating going, I don't know how I'd fit this into my schedule. It's one of those things where you do, you find time for your priorities. But the beautiful thing is, the courses open up on a Monday morning and they close Sunday night, and each professor will give you guidelines and timelines, but you are setting your schedule. So, I used to get up an hour earlier on Monday just to kind of see what my week looked like. And then before you know it, you get into a routine and a schedule where, an hour here, an hour there, an hour and a half here, you're going to carve out a couple hours on the weekend. And before you know it, you're in a rhythm. And then, it's such great content that you really are enjoying the process. It's full time. And I remember there was one professor early on when I started, it was like, hey, congratulations, you're a full-time student. Welcome. And it was like, okay, but we can do this. And, if you look at our success rate, I think that each professor understands that life happens and that there's going to be situations on occasion where, if you reach out to your professor ahead of time, obviously, I always say I like to ask for permission instead of forgiveness. But, we do understand that people have full-time jobs, but, it is a very robust but fair schedule. And I really do think that you can get into a good rhythm. And before you know it, you're almost up at that year. So Wendy, I don't know if you had similar experience when you went through it.
Oh, I did. I mean, again, I graduated in 2006 with my master's. And of course, I started teaching for NASM in 2005. And, Marty, as you know, we were trying to figure out how do you teach? Because we weren't good in front of an audience in the very beginning. We were still making sure we understood the content, but really being able to present it in a way to make it easier for people that were new to NASM. And then I was managing 2 clubs at the time, still seeing clients, and having to deal with some personal family issues as well. I mean, it seemed like at the time, what am I doing? But to your point, I mean, the way that the classes are structured and the way that the classes open each and every week and the interactions, ahead of time on Monday when you sit down, what do your classes look like? What is due? And then you set your schedule accordingly. You're going to have to make a schedule. You're going to have to figure out each week how you're going to manage your time. Time management really is important to be successful in the program. But I'm telling you, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because at the time I really did have a lot on my plate. But I still graduated, not to brag, but I got a 4.0 because I'm anal. But, so it can be done. But, again, you're going to really enjoy the content if you really love exercise science and everything, that has to do with what I was doing personally with my career. I loved it. And again, the teachers were fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
and I think this is a perfect transition, because at the time, my situation was very similar work-wise. But I had 3 toddlers. I had a 3-year-old and twin 1-year-olds. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know when there's going to be a great time. So let's just get this done. But that time management really helped, keep me on track. And yeah, there was a lot of coffee. But you know what? It was the best decision I've ever made in my career. And as we transition to the next slide about the doctorate, I got my doctorate right before CALEU came out with theirs. But that confidence that I had to manage that schedule for 1 year, I was like, man, if I could handle that for a year, I know I can go out and now get a terminal degree. And yes, it's a 3-year, but I never worried about how am I going to get it done, because I already proven to myself that I could do it. And I already proven that if I get these degrees, my career is going to take off. So I know that, CALEU is very proud of their Doctor of Health Sciences. So Jeff and Barry, I think that it'd be a great opportunity to talk about how, once again, CALEU is out there moving the ball forward even to that next level.
Sure, I'll jump in there. So this was another first for the university. So when Barry came to the university and started the online master's program, it was the first of the fully online programs at the university. There were 2 others that started in concert, but we graduated our students prior to them, so we have that first as well. The bachelor's program was also the first fully online bachelor's program at the university. And then when we started the discussion for the doctoral program actually began in 2012. There was a law that changed in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that allowed us to offer that program. And so our department, I was the chair of the department at the time, but we were able to offer the university's first ever doctoral program. And now it's evolved over time. And there are 2 options in the program. There's a 2-year option that is a portfolio option. And there's also a 3-year and beyond option that is a dissertation option.
Awesome.
So
And
Jeff, I was going to ask you, can you, with that being said, I mean, obviously we understand what you're talking about when you talk about the differences of a portfolio versus a dissertation. Can you maybe explain kind of the differences a little bit more for other people that might kind of be new to that, to the portfolio side of it? Sure.
So I'm going to work it backwards, Wendy, if you don't mind. So a dissertation is original research, right? So a student would go through obviously there's a process to research. So you have to first complete a literature review, and then you go on and you develop a problem statement. And then from there, you would actually conduct that research. And then that research, the results are analyzed, and then conclusions are drawn from that. And so it's a longer process because there's there's a lot of very technical things involved, including something called students have to have approval from an institutional review board because they're using human subjects. And so that can be an incredible hurdle in and of itself. And then from there, so working backwards, if you think of what I said, a dissertation is the portfolio allows a student to become a subject matter expert, and they do the parts of the dissertation up until the research begins. And so literature reviews performed. And when we're looking at that portfolio, we're looking at those areas of leadership, we're looking at pedagogy, and we're looking at exercise science. So we're expecting students to have elements of scholarship, elements of service in their portfolio, and they just simply don't take that next step and do the original research.
And Jeff, one of the questions I was going to ask, and feel free, Barry or Jeff, whoever to answer, is Doctor of Health Science is somewhat relatively new. Again, that's the doctorate I got when I went through my program. And at the time there was 9 universities, so now there's maybe just 10. But can you explain a little bit of the difference between, a traditional PhD versus a Doctor of Health Sciences? It's for people to understand that, there is a slight difference, but the value of having that Doctorate of Health Sciences.
Sure. Barry, do you want me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. So again, it sort of follows in line with our other programs. It's more functionally based, and I think probably, Marty, you would agree with that. And this does not mean that we have graduates of our program who've gone in to work in academic positions. But if we do talk to students if their goal is I want to teach at Stanford, then we tell them this is probably not the program for you. Mm-hmm. But we also have students that say I would like to teach at a state university in New York, and then we say, well, this may be the right program for you. So that's but the principal difference is it's really I guess more of the functional focus of our program versus a traditional PhD.
Yeah, and I like the way you say functional. So again, when I looked at it, I looked at it as, what's new, what's up and coming. I knew that I didn't want to spend my career just in pure academic research. I totally value it, hence why, I'm passionate about NASM and all of this, because, research is so relevant. Me personally, really what I want to do is take that research and apply it on a global scale. So that's what I really liked about the Doctor of Health Sciences is at the time, I didn't know where my career would take me, but if I wanted to work for a state, if I wanted to work for an insurance company, if I wanted to work and solve big problems, I would understand the research. I would understand, all the different healthcare systems throughout the world, the new technology, and now maybe I can go out and apply the understanding of the research, and can I make a change in a population of 1 million people, 2 million people, 10 million people? So really, that's where I like the Doctor of Health Sciences, is you get kind of a business side to it where you're understanding the research, but you're trying to implement that research and change healthcare or people's well-being on a larger scale. Excellent. So any other key points on the Doctor of Health Science before we move on to the questions?
I think we can move.
Perfect. So if we go to the next slide, there's so much that we could cover. We really wanted to cover, the in-depth programming and the key partnerships that CALEU has, and how NASM has been that, foundation for that from the very beginning. So Greg, if there are any questions that are coming in now, obviously any one of the four of us can answer those. And then obviously we will provide our contact information as well.
So yeah. You want me to read them? We've got Scott Bale, which, hi, Scott. Scott is
always here with us.
Yes, he's one of our faves. But his question is I don't have a degree, but I'm an NASM Master Trainer and have owned a private studio since 1995. Does that exempt me from some of the classes?
So I'll jump in there and answer definitively yes, on two fronts. So first, with your NASM Master Instructor, you have obviously more than you have several certifications from NASM. So two courses in particular in the program you would receive advanced placement for, and those would be both NASM content courses, but also you could apply for credit through the prior learning assessment, and you can actually earn up to 30 credits in the program through your prior learning assessment. For instance, as a 30-year or 25-year owner of a business, I suspect you would have the skills necessary to complete our course in the business aspects of fitness. So you would simply have to write up a portfolio and provide some background, and then that would be reviewed by a faculty member. In this case, and I'm winking, it would be me, and then we would we would move forward with that. With the credit for that course and others there. I think you could easily apply for others as well. I was simply providing a singular example.
Perfect. We have another one, and the question is what courses are waived for the CPT, CES, and PES?
Okay, so at the undergraduate level, FIT 325 is waived for the NASM CPT. Students who hold either credential from NASM for the PES or the CES, we provide credit for FIT 335. At the graduate level, PRF 710 is attached to the NASM PES. PRF 711 is the NASM CPT, and PRF 712 is the NASM CES.
Perfect. And then we have another question. It says, I'm CPT NASM, CES, CNC, VCS, and DotFit certified practitioner, and want to know how much for the exercise science online degree.
The cost is?
Yes, I'm guessing. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and address that. We actually have a tuition calculator on our website that you can go to and plug in the various variables. So if you're taking X number of credits in a given term, it will tell you exactly how much it is. I will say this, and I don't want to give an exact amount because I always get in trouble when I do that. So I'll keep from doing that, but I will say that we are a state university, and one of our charges is to be affordable to students and to provide a high quality education. So we are affordable and we're very competitive. We're trying to build partnerships, other partnerships out there where we maybe in the future might be able to add some more tuition discounts. So we're looking at doing innovative things like that as well.
Excellent.
Perfect. And then this is from Crystal, and I know she said she came into the meeting late. So Crystal, I'm going to read your question, but I will tell you when we're talking about California University, it's actually in the state of Pennsylvania. So you did kind of miss the opening statements. But her question was I came into this meeting late, so this might have been answered, but is this only online? Is this available to California residents? And could this be an in-person course? Also, is there a California university that offers it depending on COVID?
Okay, we are located in California, Pennsylvania, a small town in Pennsylvania. The programs are fully online, so we don't have the option to come to campus for these programs. However, if you're looking for that hands-on experience, applied experience, we can offer an internship option where you take the coursework that you're learning online and actually able to apply it in an internship setting with clientele, with patients, athletes, etc.
Perfect. All right. I don't see any other questions. If you guys have any questions, let us know now while we have these two amazing men on, sorry, Marty, three, if I include you, men on our on our webinar, just full of knowledge. But yeah.
Greg, our producer, Greg, he's going to throw up the next slide, which is our contact information. So feel free to reach out to any one of us. We'll all be able to do, answer questions for you or get you the right information. So you'll see everyone's there. Mine is just an underscore. It kind of looks weird with the space there, but it's Miller_M. But if there's no other questions coming in, or we'll wait another minute or two to see here. Oh, it looks like we have another one. When do you see the one there?
Yeah, we do. It says, where do I find the information for the internship?
If you go onto CALEU's website, and I would start with caleu.edu/exercise. So we keep it real simple. If you go on and you start kind of browsing around, that information will be there and be available to you. We do have an internship department on campus. You can contact them directly, and they will fill you in with all you need to know. And feel free to email me or Jeff, and we'll absolutely provide the information.
Wonderful. We actually have another question. It says, hello and thank you. I have a bachelor's degree in sports science in Greece. Oh, I love that. Is it difficult to continue for international students to continue with you in USA for a master's degree or a further education?
The answer is, like Jeff said, it's simple. Yes, you can absolutely do that. We do require an evaluation of your transcripts that is a little bit above and beyond what would typically be required of an undergrad student. But we've had several international students go through our program and be very successful. So the short answer is yes. I would contact our graduate school and they can walk you through the process.
Fantastic. And Ricky O is a student at CALEU and has had all of us as instructors. Dr. McGumphy is my professor now.
Hey, Ricky.
Fantastic. Well, I don't see any other questions, so I think we're good.
So, we normally, what we do is kind of the key takeaways. So Wendy, I'll jump in first. Without a doubt, what I would say is this was the best decision of my career. I know that I would never have had the opportunity to work for NASM because it was basically told to me, go get your degree at CALEU. So I'm very thankful that I was guided down that path. And from there, other opportunities, getting back into pro sports with the Yankees, working for Techno Gym. It has been, again, the best investment I've ever made in myself. And from that too, great colleagues, great friends, and just a pure enjoyment of, the field that I'm in. So thank you all of you guys, Barry and Jeff, for creating this because it really did make a substantial change in my career trajectory.
Absolutely. I'm going to second that. I mean, I think CALEU kind of put me on the path of really understanding that you never stop learning. If you stop learning, you're pretty much dying. So again, the amount of opportunities that I've gotten just because I've had my master's degree and then also knowing all of you guys, because again, it's all about, who you know and working with your colleagues to further your own education and continue to grow, I think is super important. And CALEU was amazing to help kind of put me on that path of where I am today. And I'm very, very grateful for both of you guys as well as the program.
And Barry, any takeaways before we wind it up for the day?
Yeah. There was one thing I was thinking of that we did not address today that I think is really super, super important for our students. And that is when you're going through our programs, whether it be undergraduate, graduate, or the doctoral program, you're not only learning from the faculty in the classes, but you're in a cohort with individuals from literally around the world and across the country who are all professionals in their own right, and you're learning from those, each of them as individuals. And so you may have individuals who are captains in the military, or who are professional athletes, or who have owned their own personal training business for 20 years. So I want to make sure that, because that was one of the biggest surprises to me, that would happen. And you mentioned the network, and we're very, very proud of our network that we have out there, the CALEU network, and that partnership with NASM has been very special for us.
Awesome. Jeff, any key takeaways?
Only that I would say that education is one of the few things in your life that people cannot take away from you. It is the knowledge that you gain, whether that's in formal education or informal education, is yours forever. And it's an important part of how you grow as a professional and grow as a person. So whatever your aspirations are, I think it should include some type of formal or informal education.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, in conclusion, I can't believe an hour's gone by. We could talk about this information for another hour. But for everyone that attended, thank you so much for carving out some time to listen to this. You know, in my view, such an important topic. Is so many people right now are trying to re-identify themselves and reestablish themselves and come up maybe what's next for them. I think the current 2020 situation has forced us all to kind of evaluate. So, you know, this could be the next best step. So Jeff, Barry, Wendy, thank you guys so much. And obviously our amazing producer behind the scenes, Greg, once again, keeps us moving forward on the technology. So thank you guys so much for attending. Feel free to email any one of us, and we will be sure to get you the best information to help you move forward in your career. Thank you so much.